Welcome back to another episode of the Office Hours Podcast with Professor Brad Perkins. Today, we have a guest that I have known for a very, very long time. Believe it or not, one of my chemistry lab partners from when I took Chemistry 167 lab back in, was it 92? Probably 92. 1992. Don't get lippy, Vinny. I know he was about ready to pounce him out. I could feel it. All right. So, Melinda, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, Melinda Packebush. As Brad mentioned, we were lab partners back in the day, when we were here at Iowa State, both going to school. So, I graduated with a construction engineering degree in 1996. My emphasis was heavy and highway. At the time, that's what it was called.
We still call it that. It's okay.
Okay. I know there's infrastructure and stuff now, but yeah,
it's heavy highway.
Yeah. So, I'm licensed in civil engineering. I did choose to go the design route after college. So I did, a good chunk of my career has been in civil design, mostly transportation and grading, so site design. And then, I think it was about 2012, I transferred fully into the construction side. And now I've been mostly pre-construction, estimating, and some project management and construction administration too. So,
okay,
yeah.
All right, that's an awesome career going. Spanning a couple of different things going.
Right.
Because you kind of did the same thing I did, because I did a lot of design with. Although I will say I was short stints with different contractors,
right.
but primarily design, which is an important thing for our students. Everyone here should take the fundamentals of engineering exam and get your PE license. Do you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So go ahead and introduce yourself. We'll start here with Vinny.
All right. I'm Vinny Carson. I'm a senior in Connie, building emphasis.
My name's Garrett Putsey. I'm also a senior, and I'm a building emphasis as well.
My name is Eric Allard. I'm a sophomore in the Connie program, and I'm building emphasis.
Well, you guys want to, so where have you interned and where are you heading after, during summer? Vinny, you want to start?
I've kind of put all my eggs in one basket. I've interned at Turner since 2022, and I'll be heading there after graduation.
So Vinny's here, like if this doesn't go well, Melinda will go back and rescind his job.
Right.
I mean, the pressure's on, Vinny. I'm just saying, let us understand. Don't do anything too silly.
I won't.
Okay.
Try not to.
All right, that's good. Okay. Garrett?
Yeah, I've worked interned for 3 different companies. First off, I did Absolute Group, which they do a lot of concrete work in the Des Moines Central Iowa area. Then I did a few summers with Ball Team, and I did some pre-con work with them, as well as summer being a superintendent. And then most recently, I interned with Turner. I was in the pre-con department there, which is where I met Melinda. And after graduation, I'll be going to Turner in Des Moines full-time.
Oh, so you too as well. All right.
Yeah.
If you do something really foolish, then Melinda will have you fired.
Right.
Okay. So
right. I think he's going to estimating, right? Just kidding.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Someday.
Not yet, but we got an hour here. So
Right.
We'll see.
We're hiring.
My first internship was with Gleason Constructors in Sioux City, Iowa. It's like a food processing company. And my second internship is going to be in Denver, Colorado with Harris. It's a mechanical contractor, so working on a hospital with mechanical systems.
As everyone should. No, just not everyone has to go mechanical.
No.
But well done on the looking at mechanical. All right. Okay. So here. So how'd you end up at Turner? I mean, you kind of like. So when we graduated, you graduated in '96.
Right.
Okay. The year spring. Or was it fall?
Fall
of '96.
Right.
Okay, so you graduated the semester before I did.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. There we go. Okay. And then, so where'd you go after that?
Ooh, where did I go? Oh.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Right. So actually I started with Cherokee County Engineers. office. So when I was in college, you've got such a wide range of what do you want to do, right? So I did an internship with the Iowa Department of Transportation. Actually, I worked for them for several years, both Iowa Department of Transportation and MNATS. And so I was in the materials department. I actually did a co-op also. So I really, really liked materials. So I have a few extra materials classes and whatnot that are grad classes. And so that's how I got into heavy and highway. And so I started off at Cherokee County Engineer's Office. So where I did, surveying and road design, bridge design and such. And then from there, I went back to the DOT because they were hiring a bunch of folks and whatnot. And that's kind of where I saw myself. But I got married, and then I ended up working for a consulting firm. So I worked for a civil engineering consulting firm in Minnesota. They were based out of Minnesota. They're all over the United States now. So I really got, into design versus materials. And so, I really wanted to do pavement design. So back in our day, it was, they were going into this quality asphalt, quality management asphalt. I think it was QMA and QMC, maybe, quality management concrete. I think that's what it was called. So we were doing actual mixed designs and things like that and various other mixed designs. So I really wanted to focus in that, but I ended up in design, which was great. So I worked for various consulting firms, engineering consulting firms, while I was throughout my career when I was practicing as an engineer. My last career was actually with AECOM, which is, gigantic. They have both construction side and engineering side. Very heavy, into like transportation and design and, engineering, right? They own various different construction companies too. I did an airfield design for them. I've got some pretty cool projects under my belt, So I worked on O'Hare International. Yep.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
when they were redoing all the runways, I worked with a joint venture there with several other different firms. I think there was 4 or 5 of us firms together in a joint venture. I had a small portion of that, but AECOM, we actually were the prime on it. Those are kind of fun jobs because, so like at O'Hare at the time, we had various folks like stationed at O'Hare, and actually most of our team, I was here in Des Moines, but most of the team that was out of Chicago actually had offices within the O'Hare.
Within O'Hare itself.
Yeah. So, and actually our, so we were actually the prime on that one in the joint venture, but because we actually had somebody that was working directly with O'Hare, we always had one of the other folks with us on any calls with O'Hare, for conflict of interest or anything. So it was pretty cool because, joint ventures can be, they can be hectic, but they can be amazing. And it's all in what you do with it. You guys are... Joint ventures, you're a team. You have to figure out how to work as a team together and how to communicate together as a team with all these different contractors, whether if it's on the contractor side or whether if it's on the engineering side. You are one team. We got to the point where we were sharing each other's details, and just it was great, actually. We had a very good relationship. But from there, I also worked on, it's Joint Base Andrews now, Andrews Air Force Base. So probably once in a lifetime thing that people can't really, it'll be another, good probably 40 years or so before they redo one of those runways. And so we actually designed a runway with Air Force One as our design vehicle.
Whoa.
So
that's pretty cool.
Right. Is that my favorite job ever? No. My favorite job ever, on the design side was bike trails. Right. They're mini, they're great. They're mini roads. They're fun to do, recreation, sports, all of that stuff's always been has always been a interest of mine. But yeah, so, sometimes I step back and I look at my career and I have to realize like the things that I've actually done, I've worked all over the United States. I checked drawings for one of the bases in Guam, just various things. Loved working for the military. Don't ask me why, but I loved working for the military. After however many years it was, like I said, I was about in 2012. I'll say I got a little bit burned out on engineering, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I loved my career. I loved what I did, but I needed something else. And I had been doing all of our engineers' estimates for years, right? So that's how I got into estimating and onto the contractor side, and got a little bit more actual project management on the construction side. And I've been in construction since. I've tried to get out of it. I went back and worked
I tried to get out of it.
I thought, okay, I'm going to work on the architecture and engineering side again. I'm going to do some construction administration for one of the architects. And I was in that for a year, and then I came back.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right. So talk to me about your current your work. Yeah, your current position. What you do. How'd you just jump back? Because Turner is. I think this is accurate. I haven't looked at ENR lately, but aren't they one of the top 5 largest building contractors in the planet?
And it always depends on which market and this and that.
Yeah.
And don't have me quote, because I won't quote anything right. But yes, we are number 1 in several different markets. So it's really tough because I worked for smaller contractors, and I worked for smaller engineering firms and then larger engineering firms. I mean, AECOM was like 40,000 people when I was there. Who knows how big it is now, right? So I liked the smaller atmosphere, but then I also realized that I was kind of a little bit more large corporate. I mean, there's different things, right?
Well, there's different advantages to each one. Because
there is.
At the, okay, so having worked at one of the largest engineering firms in the world, at Black & Veatch, the cool part is you're doing these global projects that are just massive. The terrible part is you realize I am like this tiny little bitty part of this monstrous, for me it was a nuclear power plant they were designing, and that sounds like exciting and awesome, and until you're like there and you're like, not as exciting as it sounds.
Right.
You know?
No, you're absolutely right. So, and that's why I always tell everybody, like, I've met with some of my interns in the past before they've accepted a job, or anybody, if anybody ever wants any advice on that, feel free to reach out to me, because there's various things you should look at, and you need to look at what you want within a company. Because there's advantages to the large companies. Like Brad said, you can work on projects across the United States, across the world, whatever it may be. I mean, and then there's the smaller companies where you're 1 in 100, right? Which is very different than being 1 in 40,000, right?
Yeah. Right.
But then there's also, there's better, sometimes, and I shouldn't say there's always, but sometimes there's better benefits and stuff with the larger companies. But with the smaller companies, there's also like how do I want to say this?
You can be a more integral part of the bigger picture easily.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess one thing at Turner we have all of our, smaller our offices, right? And our offices are more like a smaller company in itself, right? Which is really good. But yeah, there's so many, you've got to figure out what's good for you. And not necessarily, yes, maybe this company pays you, $5,000 more, but you need to look at what you want for yourself. Is it just that, or is it all, is it other things,
Well, and sometimes those are things you don't really, for students, just understand that's very hard to know going in until you get some experience with stuff.
Right.
And I guess what I would suggest is always keep an open mind about maybe making a move.
Yeah.
I know when I've made some moves in my career, it's always been, they need to be well researched. You have to do it with purpose. You can't just jump back and forth.
Right.
But making a move sometimes is a good jump start to the career to get a little more responsibility, a little bit different, whether it's a different city, whether it's a different type of work, whether, so that you don't end up doing the same thing. And then, years and years, decades later, you're like, oh, I wonder how that would have been to make a move.
Well, and that's a good point. So believe me, I would be wrong if I didn't say, like, I've always questioned what I've done, right?
Oh,
and
everybody does.
Right.
I mean,
and that's why I say sometimes I have to take a look back and realize what I did, who I met, who were my mentors, and what I learned along the way.
Yeah.
So, I switched to the construction side and I took a huge pay cut. But you know what? I've worked my way back to where, and I did that because I went from being, a design engineer or a project engineer is what we call them, with years of experience behind me, down to working for a small company, a really small company, and just doing estimating.
Yeah.
But, since then I've looked at like various things. Some opportunities have just been, the recruiters are out there, right? But have been dropped in my lap, and that's why I made moves. Like Brad said, I always say you never know what you're going to get interested in, because I've done pretty much about everything but healthcare and assisted living. And we're talking agricultural, we're talking poultry, hogs, K through 12 is, a huge part of my career. But higher ed, I've done a lot of stuff. Did I want to be specialized at one point? Absolutely. Do I love that I'm not? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting range of projects where you're like, I designed a poultry facility and the runway that the that the president lands on at Andrews Air Force Base. That is a wide breadth of
and actually, so I am like very far from farm girl, right? I'm a city girl. And so I was like, I don't know if this is right, and I loved it though. I learned so much stuff. That was design build. All of that stuff was design build too. And that was my thing, I think, there. So right now, I guess I really haven't said what I do right now.
Yeah, let's talk about what you do now.
So I'm actually a design manager for Turner Construction. I still work with Precon, though, also. So previously, I was a senior project Precon manager. But, you have your title, and then you have your roles on various jobs, right? Basically, what we do is we are managers of the design build process, making sure the process runs smoothly, the right people are in at the right time, things are getting done. We're managing that design portion of the schedule, and then anything else that goes into the design build.
Ooh, here I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much design build design build could be such a wide range of stuff.
Right.
Does Turner, as big as they are, do they have their own architects and engineers? So like an owner comes to you and says, hey, I want an office building over there.
Right.
And then you guys do everything in-house? Do you do the joint venture thing where you bring in designers?
Yes,
How's
absolutely. No, we do not have our own in-house design team. There are various contractors that do that, and we can talk about that too. But Turner does not. We do have a Turner engineering group, which is a little bit different than a lot of the other contractors. I don't know if there's anybody else who has this, where we have actually, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical, geotech and stuff that are reviewing. They're doing like a peer review, right? Or a technical review of the drawings that are designed by somebody else. But yes, when we enter into a design build project, we are, we might be in a joint venture with another contractor too, or we could be in a joint venture with the design team. We could be in just a teaming agreement or whatever it may be, but we are partnered with that design firm and engineering firm. And so For those of you who don't know a lot about design build, most of the time the contractor holds the contract with the owner. You could have the engineering firms or the architecture firms holding the contract, and the contractor could be underneath them, but usually with the bonding and such, that's why the contractor holds the contract. But yeah, so then the architects are and engineers, and the design team is directly below that. A lot of times, I don't know, I'd have to look. I'm not sure if Turner has ever done this, but most of the time I would say that all of those engineering firms and all those specialty firms are underneath the architect still. But your agreement is with the architect, and then they're hiring all the rest of the folks. Could it happen differently? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's so many ways.
Right. I've worked with other, one of the other contractors I worked for, we had a design piece within us, and then we held the contracts, with multiple other firms, right?
See, this is something I think that has changed fundamentally since we were students.
Yes.
Is this whole idea of design build is, back then, let's look at mid to late 90s, it was very, very, very rare, and I would have to say it wasn't widely accepted. There's a lot more traditional design, bid, build,
right.
and two completely separate entities where there was the consulting world and you just did consulting. And then a lot of the contractors did not do any design, didn't have any engineers, didn't have any architects on their staff. But now, if we go to the mechanical world, I'm going to use that one.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest engineering teams in Iowa are on construction company teams. And it's pretty easy to find a mechanical or even electrical contractor who has PEs in mechanical and electrical, and they could do their entire design. It's made for, I think, more confusing.
Right.
But more options at the same time.
Right.
It's almost like every different project could have a different level of organization, which is a bit confusing.
Right.
I think done properly, I am a big fan of design build. I think done right, it is a great project delivery method. And I also think design build is not for idiots.
Yeah.
And when it's done wrong, it's the worst.
Yes, absolutely. So it is a great process. I love design build, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Like I said, I got more exposed to design build, believe it or not, just 10 years ago, maybe.
No, I believe that.
Yeah, maybe 12 years ago. And I love the fact that I kind of have the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
Because I can still stay in that design area, and I can work with the architects and the engineers a little bit more closely and stuff. And then, but yet I'm still looking at things from constructability reviews, pricing, all of this stuff. And Brad mentions that, a lot of the mechanical and electrical contractors now, yes, are design build. And we'll team with them on like the design assist, what we call design assist. So they'll be like our design build partner, but they're actually physically doing the design of the mechanical and electrical systems. Gotcha. Rather than having mechanical and electrical engineers from a consulting firm. It's just amazing as to what has changed. Like Brad mentions, back in our day, we heard the word. It was. It seems like I don't know. I do remember. I don't know if that was contracts or one of those classes.
They might have mentioned it briefly,
right? But we didn't. We didn't really talk about it much. It was kind of a new thing.
Well, here, just look at how the construction engineering department is different.
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I do want to hear about
what you don't want to hear about.
We have our design build capstone,
right?
Right.
So
yeah, we didn't
have capstones.
Yeah, we didn't have
none at all.
No.
Yeah.
No. Our last classes were scheduling and estimating.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So
that was last year.
Just so you know. right? So Vinny was the mechanical for his group.
Oh, I know. I
And
heard
so-
that.
Oh,
through
you
the,
heard this.
I heard it
I
through
heard
the
this.
grapevine. I forget who I was working with, but it was when I was in the 488 capstone class, and they told me, they were asking me that job you guys were working on was actually one of the CA jobs that I had.
Oh,
From,
was it really?
Yeah, so
Oh,
you were
gosh.
working with the design firm that I worked for. Yeah, so it was
Wow.
kind of funny. They
I should have
asked
had
me,
you help me grade. Vinny.
Yeah. They
That would have
asked
been
me.
fun. That would have been fun.
The 488 class asked me about, have you ever done schoolwork? And I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, well, we're doing this design build for, and they brought up the school name, and I was like, whoa, that was one of mine.
Yeah, we were.
Well, I wasn't like deep into that one because
No.
that one actually was that one
This is-
said, yeah.
This
Or
is
Valerius.
such a missed opportunity.
I don't
Both
remember.
of us.
It's the one on Aurora in Urbandale.
Both of
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
We could have both grilled Vinny at the same
Yeah.
time.
That was
I
the
know.
longest 2.5 hours of my life. I think.
Right.
So Vinny is fairly traumatized by my review. See,
Right.
so as the technical advisor, I don't just take their notebook and grade it.
Sure.
Okay, I have them come to my office and defend the design.
I think I like
Oh.
that aspect of it though. Even
that
though
is a
you
good
know,
point, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I like that.
Yeah, because now he's got a chance there. He's got his book. And what I
Right.
tell them is, this is your lifeline. You can use anything in this book, but you can't look anything else up. If it's either in the book or it's not.
Yeah.
So, and I grill them on it. I don't know. Do I grill you? Does that
Yeah.
feel right?
Well, it didn't start off the best because there was one glaring mistake right off the bat, like the first thing he asked for us, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like here we go."
Yeah.
But I knew where everything was, and I had all the information in there. I would say, I mean, I better have it. The binder was 6 inches thick, full
Right.
to the top,
Yeah.
and I have one of the smaller ones. I guess.
Yeah, that was one of the smaller ones. Okay, Melinda, just for fun. I think he was actually shaking.
No,
when he was,
Was
like,
he?
sitting there.
Was he?
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
It's okay.
He was.
We've all
pretty
been there.
nervous.
I was
It's
getting
okay to admit.
pretty mad at myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it didn't start good. And I'm
No, it
like-
didn't.
It was like, what the hell, Vinny?
Yeah.
And he's like, she's like, please don't fail me. Please don't fail me. Right? He's like, I got my life planned out, and if you fail
That's
me,
what I
well,
told him. I'm like, I've got life after this. I need
Right.
to get
I
out of
was like,
here.
that's not my concern.
Right.
Not my
Right.
concern. So he did live. The good news is he did live. But,
Yeah.
But you see, what I'm saying is that we didn't have any of that stuff.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you ended on scheduling and estimating.
Yeah, that was the
So
last
that was a
class.
400 level class back
Right.
then.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That was the last.
Did it look similar to what it is today from what you maybe know, Brad? I don't know.
I would say yes.
Okay.
I think it did. I think it looked pretty similar.
Well, and a lot of the class numbers are still the same,
Yeah.
same numbers and whatnot. But
Gotcha.
But I've had people ask me that too. Like, how did the campus change? How did class change?
How did
and
town
stuff?
change?
But I
Probably
will
not.
say,
town has it.
Yeah.
No. Town. Well, except for your lab. I don't like your lab as well as I liked ours because we had a
Really?
teaching area and then our lab was behind it. So whenever we had computer lab, but of course, we didn't
Yeah.
have computers. I mean, we didn't carry them around
kinda
with us
did.
in our backpack.
Oh,
we had this,
no. Oh,
we had
God,
this.
no.
We had to go sit and wait in line to get into the computer lab.
Man,
yeah.
how did you guys do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you sat there and you
true.
hoped that you were you went to one lab and you looked to see if it was full, and that might be Marston. And if that one's full, then you went to the next building to see if it was full.
There's the bottom of the library.
Right. yeah.
jeez.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Like a
I didn't.
dungeon down
yeah.
there.
Mhm. Yeah. So you just kind of walked your way around
Yeah,
campus
you
to
tried
figure
to
out what
find
lab was open.
What
and
lab was on, and then you had to bring your own. There was no.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there was no network.
Cloud.
Right? There's no
Right.
cloud.
None of
Cybox
that.
wasn't a thing. You had to bring your own floppy
Disc.
disks.
Right.
Disks.
Ugh, floppy
and you
disks.
had
Yeah, legit floppy disks actually.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
You had a pack of them in your bag.
Oh yeah, you'd have
Wow.
a stack of them.
Yeah,
Right?
you
That's
had a little
amazing.
container that had various ones for various classes and stuff. But
Yeah.
The next to your Walkman, so you can listen to your CDs while you
Your
work.
CDs.
Or
I don't-
cassette.
Only the rich
We
kids
did-
had CDs.
Well,
Oh.
we
Rich
did.
kids had
Yeah,
CDs. I
we
didn't
did.
have
CDs were a thing. in
CDs were a
college.
thing. They were.
yeah,
That's
because
true.
I did.
That's true.
I
I
did
didn't-
have a Columbia House membership.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
where you got mailed.
Yeah,
CD.
CD of the.
Whoa.
Yeah. you could-
Wow.
yeah.
Look at
could
these
get a
guys. They're like,
Amazing.
they're like,
I
what?
know they're over there like, what is that?
Yeah, they're looking at. Yeah, they're looking at
You'd
us.
get them in the mail. You had to buy so many. You had
Oh,
a
yeah.
membership.
Right, you had to pick which ones.
First 10
Couldn't sample 'em.
for like a penny.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
That's risky.
Yeah, well, you had
Right.
to listen to the radio, figure out which ones you wanted.
Right.
It's true.
The problem
Right.
was you'd buy one and then you liked one or two songs and the rest were all junk.
Right.
You know, and-
Or watch VH1 or MTV or something.
Right.
Back in the day.
yeah, I did. I
There
was
you
on
go.
MTV.
Yep. Yep.
Back when MTV played music.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
the
but
thing.
so town, yeah, your guys'
Town's the same.
Your guys'
Yeah.
room is different. Upstairs, they've taken in some rooms that are one big room now. Used to just be two. So I think like,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
call
but-
that the west wall. It
Yeah,
used
but
to be like
our
maybe
classes
4
were
classrooms.
like 20,
Right.
like maybe 20 people.
Oh, so I forgot about this. I just explained this to somebody the other day. Was that we had to apply to get into our programs? I don't know
Oh,
if that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
so-
uncle would
They
talk
don't.
about that.
No, they
Right.
just switch majors.
Now,
whatever.
Connie, we could get into. I think. I didn't have any issue there. Now,
I didn't have any issue.
Aero-E only took like when I was in Aero-E to start. Well, I was in architecture to start. Then I switched to Aero-E.
Oh my
and
God.
then I switched
Yeah,
back
that's
to
a long way.
Yeah, I
Working
switched
your way
back
down the
to
alphabet.
Connie because I
'Cause it was C.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I switched to Connie because I really wanted to I was too far in the game in the whole engineering side to
Yeah.
go back to architecture. So that's what I chose.
Yeah.
But for Aero-E, they took like maybe 15.
Oh my God.
Right. So
well, I mean,
you had
Oh,
to
yeah.
apply.
that's about
we had
all
to,
who gets a job nowadays.
we
so.
all had to apply. Yeah.
It's the same back
Yeah.
then.
We
too,
all
right?
had to apply to get into our programs.
Yes.
So you may not have made it the first semester. So, we talked about earlier about the fact that we couldn't do it in less than 4.5 years, and most of us took 5 or 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Well, add that on top of the fact that the first semester you didn't that you were applying to your program, which we were maybe sophomores.
Yeah.
I
before
think
we got it.
yeah, in that we had to do all of our general engineering classes before you could apply.
Yeah.
You might not make it that first semester.
Ooh, remember when we were in engineering? Was it engineering? Gosh, was it engineering 101 or like engineering?
Oh, like 160, 170?
Yes, 160,
yeah, when we did
170.
manual drafting
Yes, we
and learned AutoCAD.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, manual drafting
Nice.
first.
And then Fortran.
Right,
is
and Fortran.
160, yeah. Where
Right.
you guys learn Excel. Yeah, we learned
'Cause
Fortran.
we were in-
We didn't
which
have.
was,
Oh wait, yeah, that was
so
a part of our 160.
keep
actually.
in mind, like back when Brad and I were just little.
Little.
Yeah, right. Well, this is little.
I don't know if I
like
was at-
I
yeah.
remember. So I again, when I think back at myself, I was 9 years old learning to program computers, and we had to program 2+2 at that point. There wasn't very many programs.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
So like
Yeah.
we're learning a language. We learned Fortran, which was outdated at the point when we were in school.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But we were still learning Fortran, and I had learned BASIC, so I'd write everything in BASIC and convert it to Fortran so that I could.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
there was all these different program languages that people were learning.
That's
so,
amazing.
So yeah, whereas you open Excel and you say equals 2+2, yeah, we were writing this big program.
So
to
you were
do
the
that.
coders.
Yeah. Now we did have
yeah.
what was called Lotus 1, 2, 3, and then we did eventually have Excel. So we were still, and we could do some various things like graphing and whatnot in there. I don't know if maybe we could write macros back then. I just remember doing like graphs. I had to make these graphs out of tables for like testing and whatnot, testing results. But otherwise, yeah, I mean,
Wow.
no.
Yeah, it was pretty primitive.
It is
Pretty
wild how
primitive.
much
Right.
this program has changed. 'Cause my
Right.
my uncle was here around the time you guys were here.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I remember freshman year. He's like,
His uncle.
he's like, did you get in to Connie? I'm like,
Right.
well, yeah, I
See?
applied and I
Yeah,
just got
yeah, listen
accepted.
to- yeah,
Like,
they're like-
Right. See,
I'm
he
like, what
was
are you talking
asking.
about? He's like,
Right.
you have to
Get
test
it.
in. I'm like, no, thank God. I mean, no, I didn't.
Yeah, we had to fill out these forms and all this
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
and yeah, I'm not too
See,
sure.
actually, that's
we
how I
might even
ended
had to
up-
write an essay. I don't remember, but
Oh man.
No,
I-
this is why I switched out of ME, because after like, gosh, after a year of being in pre-ME, remember
Right.
that you were not a mechanical engineer or an aerospace, you were a pre-mechanical engineer,
right,
God.
yes.
pre-aero, pre-civil,
And that was
pre-con-
just your freshman
or
year,
just
like first full
pre-engineering.
year.
Or-
yeah,
or-
if you
no,
were
oh, yeah.
undeclared.
For some
Yeah.
people, that could go
Yeah.
years.
Oh
Uh-huh.
jeez.
Yeah, and I got sick of it. I was like, because when you were the advising was never all that awesome in
no.
ME. And if you were pre-ME, good Lord, you didn't even exist. You know?
Jeez.
Oh yeah.
No,
well, well, yeah, because you guys would have had like. I mean,
we
even
had
if
the
you,
Mar- do you remember
even if
the
you
Marston?
had 50, yeah, but each one of your, I mean, you're looking at, like I said, Arrow E was like 15. I mean, I don't remember how many were Emmys, but or whatever you guys call them now, Meckies. I don't know.
Yeah.
My kid always uses Mecky. I don't know.
Really?
But anyway, yeah,
Well-
there were so many of them, and industrial and electrical. I mean, we didn't have biomedical and all this other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot fewer
we
choices.
had civil, we had mechanical, electrical, industrial, chemical.
So it
And
wasn't.
nuclear, I think, at the time, but that was very
did.
that was very small.
Wow.
Yeah,
I could
Well,
imagine.
where we're sitting right now in the
Yes.
Student Innovation Center, when we were students, there was a
Was the
nuclear
nuclear
reactor
reactor.
here.
Whoa, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
What do they do? Like, where is it at?
They decommissioned
They-
it and
They busted it up, tore it apart.
yeah, that was
Dang.
Yeah.
man,
That'd
yeah.
be cool to see.
When did
It
they,
wasn't that
when did
cool.
they
Oh no,
decommission?
and
No, it wasn't
they
that
didn't
cool.
really let very many people.
See,
yeah.
I looked at since I came off the submarine operating nuclear reactor. I actually looked at a
Me
part-time
too.
job
Yeah,
operating the university reactor, but then
Really?
they didn't pay enough. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh my gosh.
well, we didn't get paid much back then anyway.
oh yeah, student.
I
yes.
mean, if you made $10 an hour as an internship, you were doing fantastic.
oh, that was
Wow.
big.
That was
money.
like, as you, as
I-
you guys would say, that was bank, man. But
Yeah,
yeah, I made like $8.50 one year, and they gave me 10 cents more just so that I would go work for them
I
instead
think I
of
started
somebody
at
else.
Hy-Vee at $9.50 when I was
Right,
16.
right. But no, even back to like Nuki, I actually really wanted to go into that at the time. My dad worked for Dwayne Arnold Energy Center, over in Palo, which has been decommissioned, but they're
Ooh, it's coming back
It's
online.
coming back. I know.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So
Right.
why
Okay.
did the nuke program stop, do you think? Because I feel like you say a lot nuclear
Okay.
power is
Um,
kind of the new thing.
Okay,
Well-
nuclear power is not a new thing. It's an
No.
old thing that is now a
Right.
new thing.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, in the 90s, nobody was building new nuclear power
No.
plants. It was
Okay.
not.
There were very few in the
there was
United States.
very few
Yeah.
new. There was almost no
there
new
still isn't
construction.
a lot, but yeah.
You're right. We definitely need more. But you got to understand, in the 90s, coal was so cheap. Everybody was just building coal plants.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't
You
have
know?
as many, like, I don't know if we had any data centers or anything really. I mean, there's probably,
No, no, honey, no data
Data
center.
center.
Yeah. No.
A 1990s data center
Right,
would be
right.
like 3 computers in one room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Forgive him, Melinda. He's young.
You're
it was
right,
just
right,
a
right,
floppy
right.
disk.
I
That was your
mean,
own data center.
Our
right there.
servers were
Yes.
were
Servers.
big, gigantic, not big, a desktop
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah.
That'll heat your house up for you, though.
right,
you know?
right.
No data centers. But okay, so electricity was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Coal was plentiful and abundant, and nobody thought twice about burning more of it.
Right.
So people looked at nuclear as a huge initial investment,
Yeah.
and it was per kilowatt hour slightly more expensive than coal.
Gotcha.
Not like a massive amount, but if you're a, let's say you're a Mid-America Energy and you're like, do we put all this money into a nuclear power plant or have a much shorter construction time, less initial investment, and we can be selling electricity tomorrow, and we're not really sure if we have a market for
Right.
all this electricity.
Yeah.
So the 90s,
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
the 90s, there was no domestic nuclear power industry at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Interest in the nuclear major went to nothing,
yeah.
and then they're like,
Interesting,
they're
yeah.
like, why keep doing this? No one's doing any research in it. Nobody's doing any construction
You
in
think
it.
there's a chance of it coming back?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So now what they do is small reactors.
Okay.
And yes, there's absolutely the possibility.
And
of
like, what
that coming
time
back.
frame do you guys think?
I think it's going to be sooner than we think it is.
I think it is.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
okay, just on my LinkedIn
Right.
feed this morning
Mm-hmm.
from the governor of Utah, he has this LinkedIn article about how they just flew a modular nuclear reactor
Right.
into the state of Utah for one of the Air Force bases. They put it on one of their transport planes, flew it there, landed it there. They're like, hey, this is the future of energy.
Right.
Small
impressive,
modular
yeah.
nuclear reactors. I'm
SMR. Yep.
Yep. I'm way
It's
biased, and all these guys have all been in my classes,
You're right.
so they know I am very pro nuclear power. I am biased, okay, but it's not without good reason. You know,
Yeah.
it's not without good engineering basis. And my good engineering basis is if we're serious. If we've all decided as a globe, or at least in the United States, we've decided we don't like coal. Even though we have more of it than any other country in the world, it's dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's not burn any more of it. It's like, okay, fine. What is going to take up that slack?
Yeah.
Well, in recent years, what's taken up the slack is gas-fired turbines.
Gotcha.
Okay, we have lots of natural gas. It burns cleaner than coal. We're building lots of them.
Right.
Okay, still not perfectly clean. Okay, we have lots of solar. We have lots of wind. Those have major downsides.
Yeah.
You know, with regards to consistency and reliability. But
Space.
space, you know, just look at wind energy. Wind energy per terawatt hour of electricity production. There are more deaths in wind energy than nuclear, even when you include things like Fukushima and Chernobyl.
Yeah. And so,
Really?
and
Yes.
actually,
Yes.
to talk about that a little bit, because, you know, there's obviously Chernobyl out there.
I love Chernobyl. It is so
on-
interesting.
Yeah. And it's out there, you know, on, what is it, HBO, I think, or
Actually,
whatever.
that one, I've mentioned this to the students before. If you haven't watched that, there is a lot of really good actual engineering in it.
There is actually, and it
And-
actually does tell the true story. So
It does.
I did some various speeches and whatnot in college, even on nuclear energy. And since my dad worked at the nuclear plant, you know, I knew a lot more probably than most folks do. I mean, at the time when I was doing my research, I mean, that literally,
I think we talked about this, right? Because I came off a nuclear power plant. And your dad was working for Dwayne Arnold.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway.
so
Yeah.
he, so like some of the brochures and stuff that they sent me, I mean, they were saying that you would get more radiation, like, because there's
Yeah.
the key thing, right? The whole radiation
Yeah.
piece, and it scares people. But you get radiation from the sun, from cigarette smoke, from all kinds of
Radon
things.
around here.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Way more worse than Iowa.
Right. So, and that was like the thing. Like, this is what this brochure said. Well, my dad and I talked about Chernobyl a little bit. And so Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and all these ones that had failures, like, really scared people. Well, Chernobyl, watch it. It was not built correctly. And
Yeah.
in there, it has the factual information. Well, what I believe is the factual. I mean, I'm sure there's some
Really
other
close.
things in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of what actually truly happened with the design of that those reactor and whatnot. And it's just, like Brad said, it is a clean form of energy. They're doing these smaller modular reactors, and yes, it's coming. It will be coming if it hasn't already.
So I'd imagine big companies, you know, like Meta and Google, and they all want the next best thing all the time.
No, it's not
It's
that
not
they
even
want.
that.
No,
It's we
not
need
even
it.
that.
Yeah, because the
it's
power
not even
grid
the
is-
next best
yeah.
thing. What they're saying is, what they're looking at is, hey, I want to open my project and I want to build
Right.
it. It's like I have money, I have a contractor. What I don't have is electricity.
Gotcha.
It's not like, oh, it's the next best thing. It's just
The thing.
the thing.
Gotcha.
Energy
Just
is
what we need.
the thing. The thing.
It's all based on
And
energy. Yeah.
I tell, okay, so Melinda, back me up on this, but I tell the students the biggest issues of their careers will be energy and water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing right now. Absolutely.
Well, not just right now. I think it's going to
Oh,
be
in
the
the
thing,
in the future, yes.
right?
Right.
So with that in mind, even after as we build all these, we're building tons of data centers and not near enough power.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we keep this going? There is only one choice, and that's we need power production. And if there's only so much natural gas, and we've decided we don't want any more coal, we can only
What do
get
you
so
do?
far on solar and wind. It has to have a discussion on nuclear.
Yeah.
There will be. And here's what's true. the companies of the world, like, I don't know what, does Turner even have a nuclear like focus? Probably not.
Not really. I mean,
Right.
not that it,
But they might.
not that it probably won't come up,
Maybe we
right?
need
And and such. But,
I'll head it up. Garrett and I, we'll start it.
But
Start the branch.
Yeah.
Start the branch.
but you
Turner
know,
Nuke.
Exactly.
yeah, our subsidiaries, you know, and like our sister companies have various things, you know, obviously in the other parts of the world, right?
Right.
I think that's the other thing. Like the other parts of the world are doing things differently than we are over here.
Yeah.
And that's always kind of the cool thing too, to see what's going on elsewhere, to see what catches on and whatnot. So.
Well, so I think there's going to have to be a lot more. A lot of companies are going to have to grow and develop their own talent in nuclear,
Yeah.
because there will be money for it. There will be projects, which means the Turners, the DPRs, all these,
yeah.
you know, they are going to, if those projects are out there, and if that's what it takes to build the data center with the clients, that's where it's going to go.
It sounds
You're
cool.
going to
Yeah.
have to develop this expertise again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's just not enough knowledge. There's just not enough experience in it right now.
right.
So it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be absolutely fascinating.
Maybe we should do an episode over nuclear energy in Chernobyl.
Oh, in Chernobyl?
Ooh.
I think Chernobyl's so cool. Just looking at the pictures, it's just like
I know
frozen.
I know exactly who to
in
call in
time.
for this.
Is that
Right. One of my professors who I'm in touch with on LinkedIn now, he's retired. He actually invited me to a debrief on Chernobyl after
Really?
it happened. Yeah. Yeah. He has doctorates in material engineering, mechanical engineering, and nuclear engineering.
Wow.
He was one of the directors at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. The guy is the smartest engineer I have ever met in my life. I've invited him here for a podcast, and now I know the subject. When you
There we
decide-
go.
Problem
right.
is, he's living in Washington, D.C., so I don't know how soon or ever he gets to Ames.
You have to,
Yeah.
And I don't really have a budget to fly him in, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
right.
Yeah.
You know, he was actually the reason that I decided to become a consulting engineer. He was teaching me thermodynamics, right? And I'll always remember this. So one day, he says, "Hey, I've got to be gone I got to go to this power plant and do some consulting." He goes, "I'm going to have to cancel class." And back then, there was no videos online, you
Yeah.
know? He was like, "You miss class, you miss class." And he was not getting done, but he was a really, really conscientious instructor. Like, it was really important to him to do right by the students. He goes, "So here's what we'll do. We'll have a night class, and to make it up to you, I will buy pizza for everyone,
Oh, whoa.
and I will use 15 minutes of my billable time to buy everybody pizza."
Oh, man.
Right? And I'm like, you know what I do? I'm like, what's this guy making in there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, okay, there's a class of 30 of us. Let's say everyone, let's assume everyone eats 1/3 of a pizza and he buys, you know, Pizza Hut. And I was like, at that time, my math was like, this guy's making $300 an hour
Yeah.
in 1997.
That's crazy.
You know, I was
Yeah.
like,
that
I want to do what you
right,
do.
Right. That's like, ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. He was freaking killing it, man.
I
Right.
bet.
So I was like, that's the job I need. That's
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, but anyway, if Vinny, if I can get him here, we will definitely do one
sweet,
just on
yeah.
Chernobyl.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely fun. So that's where I think, okay, so here we kind of strayed
Yeah. We
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
from
got
the
yeah.
whole design
Right.
build part. So now most contractors have their own design build capabilities.
Right.
The ones that do it well are the ones that actually have design. You know,
Yeah.
architects, engineers, design. The ones that I've seen screw it up, because sometimes I do expert witness stuff.
Yes,
And
you do.
the worst,
I've heard.
yeah. Oh, you've heard. Wait a minute, you might have worked for a company. Never mind.
Right.
That's
Right,
confidential.
right.
Let's not get into that. Anyway, the worst design build case, or the worst cases I've been involved with have all been design build,
Really?
where they did it wrong or just decided to skip the whole design part. and
helpful.
do whatever they did last time. And,
Well,
and that's
yeah.
just terrible.
Last
And-
semester would have been a breeze if I did that.
Well, and there's so many different.
Yes, because you'd have been taking it this semester.
Exactly. It sounds easier this
Yeah,
semester.
because failure is always an option.
There's
capstone.
various different stages even of design build,
Yeah.
right? Where and sometimes you can group in. So there's also what's called EPCM or EPC, which is Engineer Procure Construct or Engineer Procure Construction Manager.
Okay.
Which is similar also to design build. It's just more of like industrial. That's kind of the term that's
Yeah,
used
that's
for
probably for
industrial.
industrial.
Okay.
But it's basically design build. But there's various things like your drawings aren't necessarily 100% complete. Sometimes they
Yeah.
are, sometimes they aren't. A lot of them are working off of maybe like a 50% drawing, or you're starting with you've got all your site done and you've got your foundations or whatever designed, but you still don't have everything else designed. So you're over here and you're putting dirt or you're putting foundations in the ground and turning your dirt over while you're still designing the rest of the stuff. There's just so many different ways that it's done these days
Yeah.
too. But that's
I
that's
think-
the cool part though. Yeah.
I think
you know?
with owners wanting to compress schedules more and more and more,
Right.
it makes more and more sense.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to hear your take on where do you think the whole design build area is going? Because if we look back and we think, okay, when Melinda and I graduated, design build was not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now almost every company has some arm of it. Every decent sized contractor. My personal opinion is probably this is going to go more and more and more towards contractors doing design build as a way to go to an owner and say, we've got the solution.
Yeah.
You tell us
we
what you
have
want,
everything.
how much money you want to spend, and we can design a solution for that. Turnkey, design, construction, build. Here's the key,
Yeah.
and the advantage for that for contractors is less and less bidding and more negotiating.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, yes, and I feel like there's a definite advantage to it. So do I see it increasing? Hopefully, but I think there's probably a lot more out there than what we know, that's going through.
True.
So like in Iowa here, we used to do some design build for public jobs. We no longer do that. We do CM at risk, but
Which I'm not all that big of a fan of. But anyway.
there's
know.
goods and bads to everything, right?
There is. There's no perfect way.
But in the other parts of the United States, the public, there's what's called, like a public-private partnership or a PP3 contract, which is design build. And a lot of the entities do that, the public entities. Design build is not necessarily about the lowest price, right? It's about quality, the best value that you're getting, which value can be termed as various different things, whether if it is just price or it's what does that value of that team bring to you. Theoretically, if we're doing design to build, right, we should never have what's called value engineering, right? We should be designing towards the budget, right? We should be always looking at that and incorporating what they call like target value design or target value delivery, where we're always targeting that budget. But theoretically, we should be working with the owner. We should be communicating with the owner. So design, bid, build, right? Design, bid, build. The architect designs it. The architect's and the engineer. You bid it, and then you build it. Well, you bid it, and most of the time it's low bid, right? But then on the other side is you bid what the drawings say.
Yeah.
Design build, you're at more risk, and you are the designer, and you are you're responsible for that.
Yeah.
If you don't have something on the drawings, you still have to include it.
Yeah, there's no one to
right?
blame.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's not necessarily a change order there. If the owner changes their mind on something, that's different and can become a change order, right? But you have more risk, and it's private side. It's done an awful lot, right? Again, whether if it's EPCM or whether if it's design build or, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's a very great process where everybody's collaborating together. If you're doing it right, you're all collaborating together, right? You're meeting with the owner, determining what the owner wants, needs. The design team, you're all in the meetings. You're trying to, come up with a product for them that works well for them, you know. And
it necessitates good teamwork,
right,
on all parts. And I think that's why, go back to Connie, that's why we have a separate class just for design build.
Right.
The design build capstone. I truly believe that is an invaluable experience for the students. As much as Vinny suffered anguish and pain and stress, I think that is an experience that is a very, very valuable.
Yeah, it was well worth it by the end. Because like you were saying, all the collaboration between all the different disciplines and designers. I was just thinking back to my group. I got really lucky. I had a very good group, and we were all working very diligently and with each other. And it was great. I really liked it.
Yeah.
When everybody's, doing their thing.
Okay, I like he says my group was.
Right.
I can't speak for everybody because Steve always talks about
we haven't heard much from these guys over here. How about you guys?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the design build capstone. Yeah, it just really forced me to work with my group, and I couldn't just go off and do my own thing. I was the architect, so I was designing and laying out the building, and I had to really do my stuff early so that the electrical and mechanical can have something to work off of.
Who is your mechanical?
Dalton Hinders.
Okay, all right.
And then RJ Thielsen was my electrical, so they were both pretty really good at what they did. So I wanted to make sure I have a good conception and a good layout for them, so they could design an accurate system for the building.
I will say that, like, a lot of times student groups for capstone run into problems when their architect is not holding up their share of the deal.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
It is.
I mean, that is the foundation for everything. Yeah. So I think what's awesome about that is that we're not an architectural program by any stretch of the means, and we're not holding them to the same standards that maybe someone in the College of Design would have. But being forced to think about those kinds of issues and being forced to collaborate and be kind of the linchpin that everything else has to circle around is a great experience. Yeah.
So, but it definitely is a good illustration when your architect on the team doesn't do their part and it just falls apart.
Yeah.
It's just a disaster.
It felt like 241, 352, 353 was like all in one class.
No way. Vinny, are you saying that one class builds upon another?
Isn't it crazy?
That is crazy.
Did they do that on purpose?
I think that's the idea. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just an accident.
Where you're actually putting everything together that we didn't get. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get.
I always think about in 241 when you're like, oh, ask the seniors, they still do this project in a weekend. It's like, you just got to like do it, the whole thing by yourself in a couple of years,
So even think about that, right? So you're managing, did you have a schedule?
Like during like to design our stuff too? Yeah, we did.
So that's where even like some of these concepts that were used in the field and whatnot are used in the whole design process too.
Oh, yeah.
And incorporating that in. And
No, I really enjoyed design build.
All right. So Garrett, you guys need to tell Eric over here that whatever he's going through is just a mild warm up.
Right.
Right. No matter how how much
it only gets worse from here. No, okay.
all the upperclassmen always talk to Vinny and I about how bad the next class was. And we're like, oh, it can't be that much worse than what we're going through now. But it always seemed to be just a little more difficult, a little more time.
But like by the end of it, I feel like you get more tenured and I feel like more mature within your work and like what you have to do.
Yeah.
That you're just more willing to do the stuff. Like I remember taking pictures of my 241 binder that was 100 pages long.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God, this is so much work.
Yeah.
So So here's one thing that this just dawned on me last semester, actually. When I was with the hard bid class, right? They were asking me some questions, and it just like basis of takeoff, right? Sometimes I give you guys some tips and tricks and whatnot with that, and I'll say this to you now. You've been trained to do this, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to remember everything is there that, or close to there, right? You need to apply. So like doing your takeoff. you're maybe going to use some trig. You might use maybe an algebra just because you're going to put an X to figure out the hypotenuse of a triangle or something. But you know this stuff. You have to remember that you know the stuff. It might look scary, but you know it. And, it's kind of like when people are like, oh, you're an engineer. Oh, look, I forgot to show you. I got I'm an Iowa State engineer.
Ooh, I like it.
Right?
I like it. Trust me, I'm an Iowa State engineer.
Yeah. So, anyway, but you're trained. It's like other careers, though, too. You're training with what you're learning. You're training your mind to know what you need to know.
Engineering is just like the art of figuring stuff out.
No way. Are you saying, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Are you saying that by forcing you to figure stuff out as you go along, that's a skill that needs learned?
Yes.
No, I can't.
I wish I would have realized that sooner.
It's
being
all
here at
coming
Iowa
to
State.
fruition.
It took a few years to figure out that's
Right.
what the calculus
Well, when you're in
was for.
Calc 3 and stuff, like, you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why do I need to know this?
Oh, math's a
Yeah.
different thing.
Okay.
I love math, but you just do what you're told in math.
Yeah.
You just look at the equation and you just do it.
Or try to.
There's you
So,
can try to prove an equation. I've been there, done that, but now you
Yeah.
just do what it tells you.
All right. So this Friday, the instructor for engineering, 160.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So they had exam one.
Not really 160.
Yeah. It's,
right.
Well, it's
Doesn't it?
1600 or something
Yeah.
stupid.
Oh, yeah,
That we
yeah,
add a
whatever.
zero to, but I refuse to do that, by the way. But anyway. So anyway, I'm going to go and talk to the class a little bit, give them a little pep talk, because the average, like if you look at the distribution, like the average grade, more people got an F than any other grade, and then the second is A's. Okay, so you got a distribution that looks like a U,
Right.
and it's like the most F's, the second most A's, and then a blend in between. And what that tells me as an instructor with 20 years of experience, I'm looking at that. She's really kind of upset about the grades, and I said, "There's nothing wrong with your test." I'm like, "Look at these grades. The first most grade is an F. The second most grade is an A. This tells me, not knowing anything about your class or your test or anything else, so what this tells me is that for the people that wanted to do it, they absolutely can, and it was kind of easy. And then you have a whole bunch of other people that didn't put any effort into it at all, and they ended up with an F.
Yeah.
And the point, because she's pretty bummed out about the grades and stuff. And I'm like, this is not, you can tell it's not that there's never an exam that's the instructor's fault. There are, right? But they wouldn't look like that.
Yeah.
They don't look like, their distribution curves would have like a normal distribution curve with the average, with, the bubble, like in that
Like
F.
centered around.
Yeah, centered. And then very, very few outliers would actually get the A. I'm like, that's not what happened here. A lot of people got an A.
Yeah.
This tells me that there's nothing wrong with the exam, but there is a little bit of effort problem.
Yeah.
Right.
There's definitely those two different sides of the spectrum. Because in calculus and like statics, I tried my ass off, but I still didn't get like the best scores.
Right.
Okay. So I feel like there's a difference to that. Some classes are just like hard, and that's what they are.
And
Yeah.
that's
Then there's
what they
the
are.
people that want it or don't.
Yeah. But so I'm going to go talk to them about effort and about, it's not easy to be an engineer. It's not easy to get through the program. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. Although I will say the one thing, after going through the program myself and now having taught it for 20 plus years, what I will say is most likely most everybody can get through engineering. Many choose not to.
I think
because they
that's a good
just
point.
don't want to do the work.
Well, it's even some of that was my goal, I mean, that's what I wanted to do. That was the goal.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, the goal was
Well-
to become an engineer. The goal was to get my license. Did I need it? I did for design. Do you need it necessarily? Not if, but
But should you get it anyway?
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, everybody.
But that was my, I mean, was that easy? No, that's like you set your butt at your kitchen table or your desk for months on end and work problems over and over again. But I'll be darned, I was going to do it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, hey, we need you.
Yes.
Make sure we get. These guys haven't had a whole lot of chance.
Yeah.
Garrett or I keep wanting to say Andrew and your brother. Gosh darn it! See, I told you I was going to get into this. His brother, but 2 of his brothers took my class.
Oh,
Right, and he's the 3rd brother. So now I'm like, I got to go through all the names.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
Eric, go.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think it's crazy how people, like, everyone obviously pays to go to college, and then it's like you don't try or don't put in the effort. It just, like, blows my mind.
I've never understood this.
Yeah.
I have never understood this. You are
Right.
the amount of investment of time and money to be here and then like skip class or just not try. Look, if you're in a major and you realize, a lot of people do, they realize, hey, construction not for me.
Mm-hmm.
That is an awesome thing to learn. If I help them learn this in 241, that's a great thing. In other words, stop
Right.
wasting the time.
Yeah.
Find something that you are interested in, because you'll be happier and you will do it better if you are interested in it.
Right.
But to just not try is something I just don't understand, and yet I
Yeah.
see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But you as students, you guys see you see this happen.
Yeah, for sure. I think coming like from high school, you don't have to put in nearly as much effort.
Oh, yes.
And then you hit that first engineering
Yeah.
exam.
See, that's
Lord.
and
what's going on
it
in
catches people
160.
off guard.
Right, and you get that D or
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe
Exactly.
even
in
an
high
F.
school,
Yeah, you can just, I'm not going to study for this test in high school and still get an A or a B.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
you get here and you're not going to do well if you don't put in any time studying, reviewing
Nope.
the material.
Oh,
That's
what
true.
about all these retakes and whatnot that you can do in high school and stuff these days?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
also.
how does that affect you
I
guys?
didn't really have those.
You didn't
Really?
have that? Wait a
Oh,
minute.
most schools do. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Wait a
have
minute.
them.
Where are you from again?
Des Moines. I went to Dowling.
What?
Oh, you went to Dallin.
Oh,
went
well,
to
you yeah.
You went to private school,
Right.
right?
Right.
Different. Yeah.
There was maybe like 1 or 2 classes the entire time. you
Right.
could,
But- So, yeah, Garrett, did that have any impact on or
Yeah,
Eric, either one of you? I mean,
I know it was very prevalent. If you missed a test or if you, I don't feel like taking it today, they were like, oh, yeah, you can take it next, or something random. But
right.
definitely not
Isn't that
training you well
crazy?
for, for
Right.
professionalism.
That was one thing that I didn't ever really understand incorporating into our school system right now. And I get the reason behind it. Believe me, there's plenty of tests I would have liked to retake too, whether if it was high school or college. But college, you can't do that. So
No.
yeah. So
I agree. I think we're doing a terrible disservice.
yeah.
Because two things is happening there, and I think both are equally sinister. One is giving, by doing that, it kind of sets up the students to always think there's a second chance. There's
Right.
always, there's
We
never
don't have a second chance when we bid a job.
exactly.
Yeah.
In other words, when life does hit them, it is going to hit them hard.
Right.
And the safest time for a kid to fail is while they're in school.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's not, it's you can retake a class. You can't rebid the job.
Right.
You know, and so in other words, learning how to fail is an important skill.
Yeah.
Learning that you can fail, learning how to get up and keep going
That's
after you
absolutely right.
fail.
That has been a very repeated lesson throughout, all 4 years of Connie.
Yeah, Connie.
Yeah. Eric, you were going to say something too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I went to a small school. I was gonna say we didn't have retakes in high school, but we also didn't have physics, calculus.
Oh.
We didn't have any big classes.
Really?
Everything was new.
Yeah.
Only class we had was chemistry. That was our hard class. Everyone would freak out about chemistry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, so that's probably a big change for you when you came here too.
yeah. Also, the failing thing. That's I think it's a good thing to learn that as well. I got a big talking to from my dad because last semester I took Calc 2 semesters ago, and I thought it was kind of easier. Some people say it's super hard, and then they're like, oh yeah, Calc 3 is way easier. So it's okay, I can go into Calc 3 and be like, yeah, this is fine. Well, now I'm retaking Calc 3,
Right.
so
Right. Right.
Yeah.
it's
Right.
not easier than Calc 2 in my
No.
opinion.
Yeah.
No, but actually, you raise a very good point. If you think that none of us at, however old, we're not going to say how old we are, we
Yeah.
don't
I'm pretty.
make mistakes or fail or whatever. We learn new things every day too. In class, on Friday, they were showing me some details. I'm like, you guys, this is the beauty of construction, though, too, and whatnot. I'm like, I've been doing this for how long, and I've never seen that detail before. I've never heard of that product before. But yes, so we're always learning things, but we're also always learning from our mistakes, or not even mistakes, just lessons learned, right? What could we have done better? That's what I always like to look at it, like, what could we have done better? And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you just got to figure out how to get over that and move on. Yeah. That's why you should be in estimating. And when you lose, like job after job after job, you don't care because the next one's going to come along and you're going to win it. And that's what happens. You win it.
Yeah.
All right. So we putting these two in estimating?
Right. I think so.
Like
I think so.
Recon.
I'm gonna talk about that when I get back to the office there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
After she talks about whether or not to actually let Vinny start.
Right.
That's what I would talk about. Mm-hmm. I would be,
come back as an intern again.
Yeah. No, it's funny though when you work with other folks that are not in pre-con and whatnot, and they get really bummed out when you lose the job. Are you bummed out? Yeah, because you put a lot of time and effort in it. But guess what? The next one's coming. The next one's coming. You don't have enough time to be bummed out and figure out what you did wrong. You just move to the next one and you go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Take the lessons learned.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, here, let's, so Melinda, a question for you then. Where do you see the design build world going? I mean, obviously I told you where I think it's going.
Right.
You haven't had a chance to.
So I think, there's various things that are driving design build, right? And again, like you had mentioned, the fast track, right? And that's like one of the advantages of design builds. It is more fast tracked, right? So when you see some of the stuff, whether if it's industrial, data centers, whatever it may be, like, even industrial, let's take, like a lot of times they have to have that, and they're looking at how fast can we get our, new line up in production and whatnot. So if we're working through this design build process and we can do it faster, that's key, right? So I think with some of these fields, you're going to see that more and more, and you have seen it more and more going forward. So, if we want to put stuff quick in the ground and whatnot, you can't wait for it to be designed, bid, and then built, because you're shrinking up that timeline.
And there will always be a need for specialists, obviously,
right?
In the various engineering trades. But I think one of the things that that type of environment selfishly sets our degree up for is this whole understanding, and this is what sets us up better than any construction management program, is having the engineering part of the construction degree is so important. So important, I think, and that sets our graduates up, and that's why we get companies, from all over the globe coming here to look, to talk to our Connie students.
Right.
Is that I think it does put you uniquely set up to understand, manage, participate in the process, and do it well.
Yeah. You have a lot of the theory behind you. You may not go out and do structural design, but you have some of those components, right? To be able to think through things too. You have components of soils, right? Yep. You may not be an expert of reading a soils report, but you have those concepts behind you that soil is our key component, right, to building anything, right? Anything. Dirt and concrete are my things, okay? Yeah. So
dirt and concrete are support items.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right. Right.
For the really important stuff.
Right.
But
right. I always joke around with some of my architect friends. I'm like, the engineers are the part for the building. Like, we design the building, you put the finishes in.
Now that's true.
They don't like that, but you understand, those components, right?
Yep.
Do you need to understand fluids? I don't know about that. It is good in mechanical. So mechanical's not my thing. That's like my worst category, to be honest with you. I don't know why. I know what I know what an RTU is and all these other, abbreviations, but Google tells you a lot too.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting in a meeting and they're talking about chilled beams and you Google it and you really still look it up and you're like, Nah, I don't care.
No,
I don't get it.
I'm hurt.
I don't. I know. I
The
don't
building's
know.
gotta stand up
I
first.
always say I don't know if it's because it's air, you can't see it, so I have no idea. I don't know if that's it.
I think there's a drastic
Electrical.
What's the thing that-
Electrical. I'm good with electrical, but
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
What's the thing that you say people don't notice till it doesn't work, and then they
Right.
get mad?
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah. 95% of the problems and issues in the building are all
I've tried.
mechanical and stuff. I mean, come on, look.
It's the first thing I'll
If
admit.
the building stands up during construction, you probably are fine on the structure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what do you guys got to worry about? It's like
Yeah.
it made it through construction. It'll be just fine. Making it actually work, that's the real hard part.
I totally admit it. The first thing, I'm not mechanically inclined.
Okay.
Tried. I've tried. I can't say I haven't tried, but I guess that's just a failure I have to accept.
Just a failure you
Yeah.
have to accept. And hire
kinda-
experts to do it.
Yeah,
That's-
kind of like
what I'm here for.
hardcore deep scheduling. No.
No, not your thing.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
High level? Okay.
All right. Well, here, students, do any of the three of you have any questions for our guest? Because we can't monopolize her time all day.
True.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys probably have like some classes or something to get back
Right.
to. I mean, I know you're skipping some right now.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. It's just fine. It's not one of my classes.
Exactly. What was the thing about Turner that attracted you the most?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because obviously I was out of the whole contractor
Yeah,
side.
exactly.
Yeah. Something had to get you back.
So, well, a recruiter called me.
A recruiter called. Well, just saying money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit of that.
There's a little bit of that.
But I think some of it was, okay, a couple things. And I've been in this situation before, was Turner was a new office in Iowa, right? I mean, established in, I think, 2019 is what we like to say. But we were still establishing that business unit. They still are right now, right? We still are. I shouldn't say they. So some of that was the attraction of helping develop that, helping win projects with different clients and stuff. And, you know, just utilizing, and some of it was, again, larger projects, wanting to work on, that's, you know, I've switched to be a design manager because I want to work across the country again.
Yeah.
You know, at one point in time, I wanted everything at home, right? I wanted to work at home. I wanted to see my projects built here. Now I'm back at I want to see projects built across the world, right? How people do things differently elsewhere and stuff. So I think it was that concept of being able to do things not just here, but throughout the country.
And you can still work for the same company.
Right.
Doing both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Garrett, Eric, you guys?
Yeah. First, what would your advice, you know, first few years into a career to really set someone like any of us students up for success as we leave Iowa State and get into the working field?
I would say, that's kind of a tough question, but I would say be curious, though. Learn things. Don't be afraid to ask questions, right? Sometimes, you know, being new, you can be timid and don't want to ask questions. You don't want to sound stupid. But you know what? I think for folks like me, I would rather have you ask the question, and I would rather you know, teach you and stuff. I'd rather have you do that. We don't think you're stupid. You know, we don't think that you don't know what you're talking about, right? We want to teach you. We need to teach you, and we need to teach you right, right? So I think, one, be curious about the position that you're in. Be curious about other things that you're interested in, right? Like I said, you'll never know when you all of a sudden, I hated surveying in college. Totally hated it, right? Once I got out and did it for real, I loved it. I can't get my license. I didn't have my second class. I wish I could have. Did I know that? No. You know, did I like doing poultry and such? I did. who would have thought, you know?
You know, I'm going to kind of develop that just slightly.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to take the unusual job.
Right.
Yeah.
The
I
unusual
love
assignment or the
that's-
unusual project.
Right.
You know, that's been, you know, when I've done something that isn't typical, I guess I would say that. You know what I'm saying? Doing something a little bit outside either comfort zone or what I thought I was going to do. That's usually good moves. Career-wise.
Right. I mean, one time, one of the presidents of one of the companies I worked for, he came over and said, how about we build a building over the top of another building and then tear the existing one down? I was like, let's do it. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
that sounds crazy. But
right?
I gotta be honest.
And it did happen.
Okay, well, there you are.
That's wild.
But yeah. So I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
So be an advocate for yourself. Do it right. You know, do it right in the sense of where you're curious. You know, don't have an ego. Just be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. No? Okay.
No.
All right. Last thoughts, any before I'll let our guest go then? Do you have any last thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can talk for hours. So.
Yeah, well, so can I, but I do have a class.
But I
These
should
guys
probably
have to go.
I probably should go do some work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Overrated.
downside having. Yeah, it is. It
Right.
is. So overrated. So,
Right.
well, I will say that it's always a pleasure having a former classmate. You know, someone that I have long history with here on this campus. So that's awesome. Love hearing what's happened with you in your career. Appreciate the time to talk and answer questions, and hopefully after this, Vinny and Garrett are still employed.
Right.
I
I
sure
think
hope so.
Right. I mean,
Right.
hopefully so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd feel a little guilty if they got fired because of my podcast.
Right.
So let's give them glowing reviews when you go back.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that in mind, since nobody got fired, and I think we've about ran the gambit of the things we intended to talk about, this seems like a good spot to thank everyone for
thank
both
you.
showing up here in person, for taking the time out of your schedule, for our guest. I appreciate that. For these guys for skipping class, also appreciate it. All right. And with that, we will wrap it up for another episode of the Office Hours podcast with Professor Brad Perkins. Thank you to everyone for listening.